Roxanne Mapache, drop in the 99-cent super chat. If you have a question, let us know. We'll try to keep. We'll try to. Our moderators will pass that along to us. So, say what you mean what you say. The follow through in your puppy training is a big deal. But people are like, well, what does follow through mean? I see this happen a lot with puppy owners. And it's so frustrating as a dog trainer. Like, well, don't repeat it until it happens.
Yeah. I saw this happening last night. Somebody was at the school. They just had started Puppy Essentials. So they haven't learned these lessons yet.
Yep.
And they were trying to take a picture of their puppy in front of the McCann dog sign in the lobby. And it was a very young puppy that had a cast on its leg. It was very cute. And they were trying to get a picture of it, which I would too, because it was adorable. It was a little doodly, fuzzy, cutie thing. Anyways.
Doodly, fuzzy, or cutie?
Yeah, all three. All three of those things. Anyways, he was like, sit, 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 sit. Hey, sit, sit. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say sit so many times in their entire life.
The good news is eventually the dog's going to get it right at some point.
Yeah. Anyways, of course, I walked over and I was like, how about we help puppy to sit.
Yeah.
So that, and I talked to them about why it was important, but I'll share that with you. You know, when our puppies, especially a young puppy, they typically are not sitting because they're being naughty. It's because they just haven't had enough repetitions, or they don't really understand the expectation that they need to sit the first time that we ask. And this goes into leadership. You know, if I ask my puppy to do something and they choose when they're going to listen to that command, that doesn't really give me much merit. It doesn't really put me in very much of a leadership role. So one of the ways that we can teach the puppies to be respectful and want to listen quickly and reliably is to do things like ask the puppy to sit. And if you have a young dog that doesn't have a lot of experience, help them to sit. You could do that by placing them gently into position, which is what we did with this little puppy. We just placed her gently into position, and then she sat there perfect for her little picture. Or you could use some treats and lure them into position, and you could help your dog to be successful. The same goes, using sit was just the example we came up with, but the same goes for your dog responding to their name, or going in their crate, or getting their leash put on, or coming when they're called, whatever it might be. What you don't want to do early on, well, ever, doesn't really matter whether it's early or not, is get in the habit of giving your dog a command, asking them to do something, having the puppy ignore it, and then just keep giving them the command over and over again. Because you kind of want to ask yourself, why are they not listening? Are they truly just being a Dinkelheimer Schmidt and you need to actually get after them and make them listen? Or is it that the puppy just really has never learned to sit in that scenario? Or maybe you're around a bunch of new distractions they've never seen before, or maybe they haven't really practiced in a lot of new locations. There's so many reasons why it could go wrong with a young puppy. And so we want to kind of go on aid on the side of caution, where you're helping the puppy to be successful rather than expecting them to be perfect. Because eventually, by helping them, they will have that. They will get more perfect, for sure. Shouldn't use the word perfect because nobody's perfect. But
no, that's
they
right.
will certainly get much, much better and more reliable.
For sure.
Are you looking for the super chat?
Yeah, well, I've got them. You can see in here that some people have changed the colors of the train station. And that's from
this is a fun one.
Orange, yellow, red. Reddish.
Oh, look at all the little Christmas
orange
things that you bought.
I know. Well, I did. I had Sam Crenshaw, the night watchman here at the train station. I had him put some stuff out before we got down here, and it's fancy.
Is there any presents back there?
Well, we're gonna have to wait till Christmas Day to find out. We've got some super chats here. First from Roxanne. Roxanne asks. Let me find it here. Where did it go? Okay, Roxanne. Oh, geez. Give me 1 second. I'm going to change this. 1 second. Because of all the craziness that we set up earlier, I've got some things happening that don't normally happen. There we go. Roxanne asks, how can I teach my my year-old cockapoo from taking forever to poop? Okay, I like this question. I tried standing and reducing stimulation, but she just stands along with me. Now, Kale and her family...
Does this mean like, not like the dog takes a long time to poop?
To go poop.
It's to go poo, not going poo.
Right. So you...
Do you get it?
It's funny. Oh, yeah, I do.
He just doesn't have time for my shenanigans.
So this is important because Kale will have races with her family when you used to compete.
I'm the reigning champion.
At agility to whose dog could poop first. So let's talk about this.
I can get 3 dogs to poop faster than my dad can get 2 dogs to poop.
That's right.
Yep.
So let's talk about how.
I'm very proud of this.
Yeah, you should be. It's quite a skill.
Yeah.
Especially when you're traveling.
Yeah. It is something that you can teach. You can teach your dog to urinate, as my dad likes to say, or defecate, as my dad likes to say, on command.
Very accurate.
And you can have commands for both if you would like.
Yeah.
And basically what you're going to do is start to teach them to go on command by associating whatever word you'd like to use with them going to the bathroom. So say, for example, they squat to pee, that you could say, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, as they're actually going to the washroom. I know you hate when I say that because it's very Canadian.
People are very confused. They're like, I don't know even what that means.
Yeah, well, they go to the bathroom.
Pee or poo.
Yeah, I don't like saying that, but whatever. It's silly. Anyways, and then you can praise them. You could reward them if you wanted to. I don't really personally like to get in the habit of actually giving my dog a treat for that, because I've had dogs in the past that will just phantom pee so that they can get cookies. So I would just praise, maybe have a little party, and you can practice that. And then fairly soon after you've done that for a few days in a row, maybe a week or so, you will be able to go out and start giving that command. And typically the puppies will sort of start to sniff and be a little bit more focused. You did mention I tried standing and reducing stimulation, but she still stands there along with me. Sometimes I've actually found moving your puppy around a little bit can help. So actually the opposite to what you're doing. So you're not wrong with what you're doing. You certainly don't want to go to a busy place and have lots going on where the dog's going to be distracted. But if you're like in your yard, for example, and you're just sort of standing there doing nothing, dogs will actually go to the washroom more. I said it again. Go to pee or poo better if they have exercise. So when my puppy Five Alive would do this, I would just walk him a little bit and just get him, or tug with him for a few moments, and that would usually help as well. But I would recommend that you start putting it on command.
Namrata Jane asks, my 15-week-old Aussie pulls on her leash, not food motivated. When we stop midway to stop pulling, she just circles us or sits down. Hello from Vancouver. Hey.
Hi.
Out in Vancouver. So, I mean, at 15 weeks, you're at the very absolute front end of your leash walking training, and your dog not being food motivated could be because of a variety of things. It might not be just because she doesn't know the skill yet. Mm-hmm. There may be, the situation may be too exciting or distracting or whatever, and she's not interested in food. I mean, you can probably think of situations where you've been startled or you're really excited and you're like, oh, I don't even want to eat. So that may be the case. Now, when it comes to when you stop midway to stop the pulling and she just circles around or sits down, I mean, ultimately what we teach is eventually you want to teach your dog that when you stop that they sit along at your side, but while you're moving you really want to make sure that maybe you're doing turns and she continues with you, because it sounds like what's likely happening is that she's either just pulling ahead and you can't be enough of you're not motivating enough. She doesn't quite see why it's more valuable to hang out with you and to check in with you and be rewarded by you, as you talk about the food thing, yet. But if you practice this exercise inside first, practice it somewhere where you can get some success. And maybe you're going to have to switch up treats. Maybe it's going to have to be pet and praise at the beginning, but you've got to find a currency that makes sense to her. Don't continue to go out and fail on your walks. You're going to really have to work hard to maybe get some turns in the mix. Maybe figure out what the treat is that she finds absolutely irresistible on your walks. But be careful about just going out and then I get it, when you stop, she circles and sits down and she's probably taking in the world around her. Let me know if that's the case, Namrata, because if that's likely an indication that she's so distracted in whatever the setting is that it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah, and remember too, like we have a saying is that you need to teach your dog to walk before you can take them for a walk. Those two things are very, very different. And with a 15-week-old puppy, there really hasn't been enough time to actually have completed your walking on leash training. And unfortunately, what a lot of people do with young puppies is they just go out for a walk, but they haven't done any training to teach the dog to keep their leash loose, to respond to the command, leave it, to stop and sit at your side, to turn with you when you change directions. So, when they're young like that, it's actually better to not do a lot of walking, start teaching your dog to walk, and then find other ways to exercise them that builds, relationship and focus on you. Things like restraint recalls or playing fetch or doing tricks, or the dog needs to do things that are active for sure. But you, like Ken said, you don't want to be rehearsing the bad stuff before you've had a chance to actually train the good stuff.
Olympic grade lurker celebrating the 1 month of being a Heart Dog supporter asks, my 9-week-old Yorkie mix pulls on her leash and turns into a maniac outside after she uses the bathroom. She completely ignores me to eat everything on the ground.
Where are you?
Over from here.
Where are you reading
yeah,
that?
because I couldn't pull it on here.
Oh, okay.
So turns into a maniac after using the bathroom, completely ignores me to eat everything on the ground.
Well, 9 weeks old Yorkie mix, that would be a very tiny little dog at this point, which would be
probably adorable.
So cute.
Yeah.
It is not uncommon for puppies to get really excited after they go to the bathroom because, you know, it's exciting. It's like, whoa, that feels better. And sometimes they just go into overdrive. So anytime you have a problem such as this, or any problem really, you want to look at two directions. Number one is going to be prevention, and number two is going to be correction or redirection in this case. So, you know, if I know that this is something that is likely to happen, the moment my dog finishes going to the washroom, I'm going to give her something else to do. And if it's something that she has a lot of pent up energy, I might, you know, have her sit and then play tug with her for a second, or let her chase me, or do something that allows her to get the energy out, but that it's sort of the energy is being, you know, used for good rather than evil. Definitely having the leash on is going to be helpful. I might suggest that even at 9 weeks old, you start to work on an exercise called settle and sit, or even just settle, so that you could tell your puppy to settle and train her to actually calm and settle when you ask her to. Though that exercise, I think, would be immensely helpful for you. Yeah. But right now, she doesn't, you know, she's 9 weeks old. She doesn't really have skills. She doesn't know behaviors that you could use to control her in those situations. So she's just doing what feels fun in the moment. So you need to sort of have a few little go-to things that you can switch to prevent her from making those choices, and teach her that, you know, tugging and chasing you or sitting and looking up at you is actually more fun, more valuable than, you know, jumping at you and biting the leash and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think this is a really common comment we see on the channel. We also hear from students is that, you know, you're kind of rushing the order.
Yeah.
You need to have a solid foundation.
You're treating your dog like it's a dog that's trained when it hasn't been trained yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So you need to make sure that you're sort of setting, it's hard to cross the river without setting some of the, you know, stones out that you need to step on. And if you miss one, you're likely to fall in. It's exactly what's happening here is you're trying to hurry things along. Make sure you really focus on the foundation first. Really focus on making sure you're getting good attention in this situation, trying to eat everything on the ground. Maybe you're going out there with a plan saying, okay, after she uses the bathroom, we're going to get this dog engaged. I'm going to do something, response to name, or something really fun. Maybe you take a tug toy. I love the tug toys. It's a great way that, you know, involves you.
Because the puppy already wants to put something in her mouth.
100%, absolutely.
So let her do that, but have her do it with something that's appropriate to put her mouth on, just so she can get that energy out, and then work some more controlled things after that.
Yeah, and entirely focused on you.
Yeah.
I love that. We actually have tug toys, I think in stock at the store if that's something you're looking for, or you can find something that she also likes. Mary H, $5 super chat. Mary H has been a long time. Merry Christmas, Mary H. A toot just for you.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a couple other super chats I want to get to before we move along, and I think some really common questions that people have. Huntington Beach, great name by the way. I'm getting a Bernese Mountain Dog puppy that is 2 weeks old, getting in 6 weeks, and watching your videos are fantastic for helping me get ready and setting me up for my puppy for success.
Nice.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, that's very exciting.
Yes.
How adorable are the BMD puppies?
They're so cute. They're like little teddy bears.
Absolutely, yeah.
So cute. That's awesome. Cute. Hopefully we see you in Puppy Essentials and we get to actually know your puppy.
Michael Alonzo, what's your favorite homemade treat?
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
I have two. One I don't make and one I do make. My dog's hands down favorite treat that I like to make is our tuna treats. We actually have a video on how to make them. They're awesome, super easy, and the dogs love them. And then the other one that's really easy are chicken wieners.
Yeah. Very simple. Which are hot dogs made of chicken.
That's right.
Because I don't think our U.S. friends
weirdo Canadians. Yeah, Canadians
Chicken
have
wieners.
chicken
What,
wieners.
did this show get a little blue?
You guys have beef wieners. We have beef, chicken, turkey. We have all the wieners.
We do.
All the wieners here, and the dogs love them.
From Krista, thank you for the super chat. Krista asks, my 13-week-old lab puppy won't stop biting and nipping me. When I correct her, she comes back even harder, even after I hold and settle her. It's like she's in a biting trance. My arms and hands are torn up. Help.
I would love to know whether you're a student or not, if you're in our programs, Krista, because that will help me kind of direct my question. Just write in the chat whether you're in our Puppy Essentials program or not. We are very careful about answering these types of questions online because when it comes to stopping nipping and biting or addressing nipping and biting, there are lots of different methods out there, and some methods work well for some dogs and some methods work well for other dogs. And so part of our online program is that we get to know you and your puppy. We know what kind of person you are. We know kind of the sensitivity or temperament of your puppy, and we're able to say, okay, this is what you need to do. Because it isn't just do this and it will be fixed.
Yeah.
It's really much more complex than that. And what would be important to us is we wouldn't give you a suggestion that could put you in a situation where your puppy would get worried or hurt or come back at you because they're not happy with what you're doing. So
I know everyone's kind of looking for like a definitive thing, like, oh, do this thing. Oh, peanut butter on a spoon and then do this. You know, it's just not how it works. Yeah. I'd say over and over and over again, we see timing is one of the biggest issues with solving nipping and biting problems. Like, when we talk about the collar and body hold, not holding on for long enough, holding on for too long.
Yeah.
Like there's that window where you see the puppy settle. Yeah. We talk about it a lot in our videos.
She just said she's so great with everything. This is one of the issues, and she only bites me. So that's helpful for me to know. So puppies will typically... and I say this with love, Krista, puppies will typically bite the people in the house that they respect the least. And so my suggestion to you is rather than focusing on correcting the biting, which you need to do, but I'm not going to go through those steps on a live stream when I don't know you and your dog. But what I will tell you is that you need to focus on being a stronger leader for your puppy. Yeah. And that's going to come through managing your puppy, not putting yourself or your puppy in situations where she can nip and bite at you easily. Maybe you need to work more control exercises. Maybe she needs to be crated a little bit more. Maybe she needs less freedom. Maybe she needs to be on a leash when she's in the house so that you can take control a little bit more easily. So, raising your leadership with your puppy and managing them better can actually significantly reduce the puppy nipping your house without you actually addressing nipping at all. It's just that you start to change your view, your puppy's view of you, because you're just responding differently in some of those scenarios, and the puppy starts to go, I think I might have to listen to you because you make me toe the line here.
Yes.
And anyways, I think Ken just shared.
Yeah, specifically, we actually have a video on the channel talking a little bit about some of the common mistakes that people are making. If you're struggling, any of you are struggling with nipping and biting, it's not just dealing with the nipping and biting that's going to solve your problem.
That's a small piece.
It absolutely is. It's the idea of balancing between focus, between like leadership and relationship, and the leadership element is so important. I dropped a link in the chat for Krista, but if you're struggling with nipping and biting, that's also going to be a valuable video for you, because it's not about the nipping and biting, it's about everything around it that can truly impact.
And she's saying, but she listens to everything else. That can't be. If she's still nipping and biting you, there's going to be some pieces that are not actually going as well as you think they are, because puppies don't listen to everything and then bite.
But I think it's a pretty common misconception. You're like, well, I mean, he responds to his name pretty well, or he does these other things. But really, I mean, our standards are pretty high, but that's why we keep getting the results we get.
That's right, yeah.
Because we're so aware of like each step of the process.
Yeah.
So do a good audit, Krista, of those results, and pay attention to the video that I shared that talks about the leadership steps, because that's going to change your training.
Yeah, I have a good feeling about it.
Yeah, me too. Jim asks, hi, my 14-week-old Frenchie just jumps and bites very hard. Can't find a good way to stop him. Gets aggressive, especially with fingers. Now, this speaks to the last to Krista's comment a little bit, it's really hard for us to give definitive information, about your nipping and biting, how to address your nipping and biting. This is something that we dive deep into in our Puppy Essentials online program, and we have students, that you'll be in a community of other students who are like working through a lot of these same things.
Yeah.
And
so common.
But we can give you more specific advice. With that said, what are some of the common management steps we can give to anybody about nipping and biting that's going to change Jim's approach to this?
I would definitely make sure that you have your little Frenchie on a leash when the puppy is not in its crate, so that you are able to stop the jumping from happening and have good control without actually physically having to grab the puppy itself.
Yeah.
And then I would work on teaching the puppy to sit really, really well on command, so that when your puppy approaches you and they're ready to jump and bite, you can ask them to sit before that jump happens, before that bite happens. Prevention is really important. You need to replace a bad behavior with a good behavior, and you need to have such great timing that you get that new behavior happening before the bad behavior even starts in the first place. So I don't let the puppy jump and nip at me for several seconds and then ask the dog to sit. I see the puppy approaching, and before I even get close to a bad behavior, I'm asking my puppy to sit. And if your puppy's too excited to listen and they won't sit when you ask them to, that's where the leash and maybe having some treats on you to lure them into position to help them to be making a better choice in that moment. So that prevention is really, really important. But remember, when we say prevention, we're not meaning that the bad stuff happens for a little while and then we're stopping it. We're saying you don't even let the bad thing happen in the first place because you are so on it.
Yeah, this goes back to the say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah.
It also speaks to the next point in our teaching plan that talks about like setting your puppy up to make better choices. But if you're not sure what those results are going to be, you're going to have a management plan in place.
Yeah.
You're going to have that house line on them. You're going to have the baby gates in place so they can't sneak away. You're going to have a crate available for when you're not supervising them. I love when you mentioned the sit part. We were working with some students the other day, and one of our students has a pretty well behaved dog, but its response to name in a new environment isn't super sharp, isn't really fast. And I think absolutely. And I think watching someone recognize that and then be like, oh, this is a training opportunity. When you have a dog that responds crisply, I don't know, that's not a word, rapidly, quickly
snappy
to their name. When you have a dog that has a snappy sit, that's a big picture. We can see very quickly. That's like big picture wins for you. This is a dog who isn't just doing it because of the utility. It's not just about them knowing the skill. They genuinely want to listen. They genuinely want to be right. And that can make a big difference if you have structured training. It can make a big difference in the rest of your skills. So, focusing on those leadership choices, setting up your dog to be correct more than they're incorrect, it's going to be so beneficial regardless of what you're working on. Yeah, so, we did mention the management tools, crate, house line, long line, baby gates, super helpful. Something that you might be doing at this point, and this is something that we will in the future be talking a little bit more about, but so many people give their dogs food.
My head is like on fire.
Is it? Mine is just right. They give their dogs food for no reason. This is so common.
Because they're cute.
Yeah, just because they're cute. And at this point, I would be really self-conscious about what I was rewarding my dog for two reasons. Number one, you're going to go through a lot of training treats, and you're going to be feeding your dog. You're going to have to be very aware of how much they're getting food, so you want to make the food count. But number two, I don't want them to ever think that food is for no reason. I want them to think that it's worth working for the food. If you feel like right now you're thinking, I don't know, my dog doesn't really love treats, doesn't really work that hard for food, there are all sorts of little tweaks you can make in your training so that your dog does find food more valuable. Mm-hmm. And if food isn't your thing, or you feel like maybe your dog can't be trained with food, we have lots of other options. But I'll tell you, food is one of the most powerful resources that you have because your dog can naturally understand its value.
Yeah.
You don't have to teach them the value.
And it's easy to wean off of in the future because a lot of people don't want to use food in their training because they don't want to have to use food in their training. And we love that because we don't, a well-trained dog to us is a dog that listens whether you have food or whether you don't have food, whether you have a leash on, whether you have a leash off, whether you have a collar on, whether you have a collar off, whether you're at your house, whether you're at the park, wherever you are, it happens all the time, no matter what. That's to us what a well-trained dog is. But in order to get there, you need to motivate the dog enough that they actually want to listen in the first place. And through rehearsal of listening and getting reinforced for it, they start to go, I love listening to you. And then you don't need the reinforcement as much anymore. So we start off with a lot of rewards and food and toys and play and all kinds of things to motivate the dogs, not just food, lots of things. And then as time goes on and we start to see more confidence, more reliability in the dog's responses, we start to take some of those training wheels off and we say, okay, now you have to do it. And rather than the food being there to bribe or to assist you, it's only going to be there as a reward. And then we turn into, you only get rewards sometimes. You don't get rewards all the time. Lots of times now, if I just like, woohoo, cheer and clap my hands and go crazy, I'm surprised Funky didn't bark there. My dogs go, wow, she's happy with me. And I don't have to hand them anything physical. Just my reaction for them is enough because they've had so many repetitions of getting that reaction and then associating it with treats or play or whatever it might be. So that's the
I like Sue K.
overarching thing.
One of our Heart Dog supporters said it's pretty easy to turn cuteness treats into watch me treats or look at me treats.
I like the way you think, Sue K.
Absolutely. Yeah, we talk about that a lot. We have a video on the channel.
When in doubt, throw a little look at me in there or ask for a shake a paw. It doesn't have to be a complicated thing, but it should be something so your dog learns to. I really love when dogs approach and then they offer something to you.
Oh, yeah.
That's such a wonderful, I think sometimes people see it as begging.
Oh, so Instructor
but I
Robbie's,
don't see it that way.
Instructor Robbie's in the chat. We should talk about that story with the...
Smithers.
Yeah, Smithers.
Yeah, that's
This is the. When we talk about dog,
when
we talk about how the McCann method, we focus on like getting your dog to want to listen, getting your dog to be excited about the training process. This is the epitome of that. Instructor Robbie, who's in the chat tonight, there's a great story about one of her puppies.
Yeah, I don't tell it as well as my mom. She'll probably critique me after this, but that's okay. So she was in an obedience, a higher level obedience class with Smithers, who was a little border collie, like greyhoundy mix at the time. And she had left her bag of wieners. There you go. She was using chicken wieners at the time. She had left her bag of wieners on the bench and she had just gone into the other hall. And she had left Smithers in the hall with the bag of wieners. And whatever, she got distracted and she quickly went back to the room and actually butted up to say, oh my gosh, I just left that whole bag of chicken wieners, and maybe the dog had taken them or stolen them or stolen them or something. And when they walked in, Smithers was sitting facing the bag of the chicken wieners and he was doing tricks for the bag of chicken wieners because he had learned so much that if I want to get those treats, I have to do something for it. So he was waving and he was sitting and he was doing all these different things because he so desperately wanted a chicken wiener. I'm pretty sure they probably gave him like the whole bag of chicken wieners for that because it was so cute. But
very cute.
What an honest dog that really learned the game.
Yeah.
The game of how it works.
That to get something, you need to put in some little effort. Yeah.
To get something, you need to do something.
Yeah. So Dustin with a $5 super chat, thank you for the super chat, says, we have a 5-month-old pit with severe separation anxiety. I work from home. We give him a chew, but he barks the whole time and poops in his crate every time. Thanks. So we need to talk a little bit about separation anxiety. It's a term that's very quickly thrown around, and it's hard to give you definitive information about this one specific moment for your dog. But I'll tell you some of the things that people often overlook when it comes to situations like this. Number one, have you walked, trained, exercised, done something to engage your dog's body and their brain before they go into their crate for the day? I love the fact, Dustin, that you're thinking about management. When you can't supervise your dog because you're working, you have to manage him so he's not making bad choices. Excuse me, but...
Good that you're giving him a chew as well.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, for sure. But, a big part of being able to put him in the crate is making sure that he doesn't have to pee or poo, is making sure that he has had some exercise. We talk a lot about this specific thing with exercising your dog's body. It can be different than exercising their brain. Mm-hmm. So doing, so maybe a pit would enjoy a game of tug, playing a game of tug, maybe something active, maybe restrained recalls. We love this exercise. We actually did a video very recently with a puppy about if you have a wild and crazy puppy, do these restrained recalls. Why do you think that is? Because it can be done by one person. It exercises, tires out the dog very quickly, and it's all about getting to you. So in 5 minutes, you can do, 10 reps maybe of your restrained recalls to like a tug. Maybe it's a food reward. And now your dog is tired. Now they're physically tired, but the reward's all coming from you. The other thing you can think about is doing a little bit of training. And I mean, it can be the most simple of things. Maybe it's, it's a you choose game where you're getting your dog to not take the treats from your hand and closing them. Maybe it's, maybe you're into training tricks. I'll tell you, training tricks can do so much for those listening skills. But each of these steps, exercising their body, exercising their brain, puts your dog in a better situation for when they go into their crate. Now, something you might want to do is take like a Kong, for example, or take a toy and put some like peanut butter on it, or maybe you take the chew that he really likes and you put it in the crate and then close the door before he goes in there and see if you can get him really excited about it. This only works if your dog has like real desire to get that thing. That's why I said like a Kong's a good example. And then you can put food into. But you show him that it's inside the crate. Then once you let him in while he's getting that food reward, that's when you leave the room. Mm-hmm. But keep in mind for you specifically, this is gonna be training. Like I want you to make sure he's going in there when you're not working, during the day, on your weekend.
And
when you
have
have time
the
to train
crate
through
near
it.
you as well.
Absolutely.
Sometimes when the dogs have a lot of separation anxiety, it's when they associate being in the crate and not being able to A, be out doing what they want, or B, they want to get close to you. So you kind of have to balance whether the crate should be, right where you are so you can help settle and relax the puppy, or maybe it's that they're better in the crate when they can't see you, and maybe you need to cover the crate. There's lots of little things that you can do. If the dog truly has severe separation anxiety, though, I would definitely recommend, finding a behaviorist or booking a private lesson or something like that, because really when you're dealing with separation anxiety, you need to figure out what the root of the problem is, and it's not always the same for every dog. And once you understand that, then it's much easier to give actual step-by-step programs to work on enhancing this. It would be far more detailed than what we could ever tell you here in 2 minutes. So if it's truly severe separation anxiety, I would definitely recommend that you get specific help so that you can get like a program and a routine to work through it, because it's worth working on to have success with the dog at the crate.
Renee Warren, $2.99 super chat. Please help crying pup. More info in the comments. 13 weeks old, cries all the time, in and out of the crate if I leave the room. So what sort of steps are we going to suggest to Renee?
I would love to recommend watching that latest video with Effie and Juno.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because it was literally on this exact topic. It was a very similar age 13-week-old puppy with a dachshund puppy, and they were having a lot of trouble with the puppy crying when they would leave the room. And the video is of a private lesson that I did with this particular student and their little dachshund puppy. So essentially I went through different value of going in the crate, and then we also worked on how to leave, how to return, when to reward, when to use your voice to pinpoint the barking, when to actually appear to reinforce the dog. So I highly recommend that you check that one out, because I think it'll give you everything that you're looking for, because we literally go through that in the video.
Yeah, and again, using the crate more frequently for shorter periods of time so it's not predictable is always helpful. I just thought we actually have a music channel. We've been working with music creators for a while, collaborating, making the perfect music for dogs. We have like all kinds of examples of different kinds of music so that it's tolerable for you too, because it's going to be playing in your house. But if you have to put your dog in a crate, if you have a dog who's unsettled by like noises, we have a thunder playlist that's built specifically for dogs that are sensitive to like thunderstorms. But we also have a playlist that just it fills the room with sound and music, and it allows your dog to settle a little bit. I mean, we've used it on a few occasions and watched it transform our dogs, watched it change their behavior so that they'd fall asleep with snowplows rumbling by on the road. It's incredible.
And it was actually so helpful because we used it while we were away at an Airbnb a while ago, and because it's on YouTube, we could just throw it on the TV, and Beeline just was lulled into sleep on the bed, which was awesome.
Actually, you know what? Now it's set up. So at the end of this show, you guys, I'll send you guys all there. You'll be able to check out the channel. We have, I think, maybe 2 live streams running all the time for you, so that there's always some music available. You don't have to go search for it. But McCann Dogs Music, you're going to find it helpful for even like, honestly, I've had lots of comments and people send us messages that have said like, I just like listening to it. I find it relaxing. I'll put it on while I'm writing or something.
We have Christmas stuff too.
Yeah, we also have Christmas stuff right now. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the fact that the natural training opportunities throughout your day could be the biggest game changer in that transition from like puppyhood into adult doghood, because this is where you take the skills and the utility of the things that you're working on, like teaching your dog to sit, teaching your dog to wait, and you apply it to the real world. What good is dog training if you can't actually use it? And the focus with the McCann method is like skills that you actually need. It's the skills to call your dog, off of something, so that they come back the first time, so that you're not screaming, come here, come on back. It happens the first time. But the natural training opportunities throughout your day is where your dog starts to go, oh, okay, well, if I wait or I sit or I whatever, if I don't charge out the door out of my crate, something good happens. I get to go outside, or I get a treat, or I get to play. And those natural training opportunities happen many times a day. Let's talk a little bit about like a day in the life when we had Five as a little puppy, like 3 things that we might do every single day with him that led to a behavior. We talked about this the other night when we were making dinner, that led to a behavior that we want now. Like how the training at the beginning has resulted in something pretty great.
Yeah, I don't remember which one you referenced into, but maybe I'll.
That's okay. Yeah, I can add it.
Yeah. There's a couple things, and what I want to say about this as well is dogs really love routine. So if you can start some of these everyday routines with your dog, it will carry over so beautifully as they get older. So a couple of the different things that we've done with Five is. When we
make him wait for his food, for example, like when we bring when it's feeding time, when he's a little tiny puppy,
that's an easy one.
We'll get his food ready, but he can't just charge in and get the bowl.
No,
we talk a lot about these leadership moments and these leadership opportunities. They're built into your natural training opportunities. You're doing this stuff every single day, and if you can figure out how to turn these moments into dog training opportunities, boy, oh boy, your dog's it's gonna accelerate your training path big time.
We do the same thing when we let him out of the crate. When I open the door, even though the door's open, he's not allowed to come out until he hears us give him a release command. And when he was a puppy, I would have put the line on him first and then release him out so that I had good control. I would sort of adopt the same behavior when we would go out my front door. I have sort of a steps that go down, and every time we come out the front door, we would pause on the steps so I could get his long line on or get myself ready. And then I'd say, okay. And then we go down the stairs. And because we do that multiple times a day, every single day, he now goes off the steps and then do I have to wait for you? Like he just automatically falls into that. We also do not allow him to go up and down stairs in our house without permission. And this is so handy because he just doesn't go upstairs on his own or downstairs on his own. He will often go to the stairs and he'll look at me like, hey, can I go down here? And sometimes if I'm going down there anyways, I'll say, okay, and then I'll let him go and I'll go with him. Or I'll say, just leave that, come on over here. But because every single time we went to go down the stairs or up the stairs, I'd make him sit and wait and then release him when I was ready. It's just part of his routine. And these types of things make the management of the puppy just so much easier. He goes and lies on a bed when we eat dinner. And he's been doing that since
That's exactly what I was talking about. So literally when
a baby puppy.
Yeah, well, because we would reward him. We would show him that it was valuable to be on the bed. And every single time one of us would be making dinner, the other one would be like luring the puppy onto the bed, showing him that if he remains there, even throwing treats from a distance to get it on the bed, which was sometimes better than others.
Yeah.
But we were reinforcing him for just being there. And now we get the pots and pans out. Guess where the puppy goes?
Yeah.
He goes right to his bed and lies.
When I open the stove, he lies on the bed.
Thing. Yeah. But
when you were eating popcorn
skill.
in the living room the other day, he went and laid on the bed.
Absolutely, because I'd rewarded him for going to that position. That's all it takes, guys.
What a good puppy.
Integrating these natural training moments in your day. And the reality is, if you're looking for more opportunities, if you're thinking to yourself like, geez, what other natural training opportunities do I have in my day? Well, that's a big part of our Puppy Essentials program. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the program briefly.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention this a little bit earlier as well because, when we were talking about leadership and setting your puppy's day up so that you're preventing your puppy from nipping and biting without having to correct it and those types of things, we do all of this in our Puppy Essentials program. And if you're not local to us to take the program in person, you can take it online. And we've worked really, really hard for our online program, especially, of course, the in-house program we worked on hard too, but our online program especially, to make sure that you do have the assistance and the interaction and the help from the instructors. That people sometimes worry that if they do something online that they're going to have to like go through the program and work things out by themselves. And we've worked really hard to make sure that is not the case. So we have instructors, in our school 6 days a week, 24 hours, doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can still ask questions. We're giving feedback, we review video, and you also get to see and follow all the other students in the program, their journey as well. And often one problem that one person's having, 15 other people have the same thing. And it's just so helpful to have that support system in that community. The program itself is fabulous. We work on all kinds of exercises that you need to know for a young dog. But the basis of the program is to build relationship, to build confidence, and to start all the foundational skills so that when your puppy is old enough to start working on, more complex behaviors, you've laid down a foundation and it's just a piece of cake to keep building on it.
Listen, as I mentioned at the beginning, you don't want it. Sometimes you're like, darn, I thought this was going to be easier, but that's why there's people there to support you. Yeah. There's professional dog trainers to say like, oh, turn your hand this way. And you're like, holy man, that's great. All I had to do was turn my hand a little bit, but you do need that dynamic thing. We love sharing stuff on YouTube, but it's one directional. Maybe it's not right for your dog. So.
And you don't know if that's not working for your puppy, or maybe you're following the video, but you're not actually doing it right. Yeah. Well, we are able to help you and say, actually, you need to watch your timing here, or you need to turn your hand the other way, or you need to be more consistent, or actually, I'm noticing your puppy's a little bit bashful, so we're going to do it this way instead for him to help build the confidence. So it allows you to have more specialized training that what you and the dog need.
Renee Warren says, also he eats grass every time I take him outside. So this is really important, and I know a lot of people, myself included back in the day, didn't quite see there's a simple fix for this, and it should be something that you're doing anyway. Anytime you take your puppy outside, I want you to have them on leash. Now, it's going to be a bit of an inconvenience because you're going to have to go out with them to, go pee and walk and do whatever. But at this point, if it's continuously a problem, you have to have your dog on leash. You have to be able to manage them. If you don't know what the results are going to be, you have to manage better. Yeah. So when you go out to take them for a pee or a poo or a walk or whatever you're doing, your dog's going to be on leash. When that starts to happen, you're going to very simply just redirect them away from that thing. Yeah. If you wait too long to redirect the dog, to get them disconnected from whatever that thing is, they're going to start to think that the process is that they eat the wallpaper or they chew on your shoe, and then you come in and you take them away from it. That moment for them that he's eating the grass, the moment that he is, doing the thing you don't like, is gratifying enough. He's satisfied with that. So you need to let him know that that's not okay. I don't want you to do that. Your timing is really, really important here. And once you get that part sorted out, once you've got like the timing issue sorted out, and hey, leave that, buddy, come on over here, go for a pee or whatever you're doing, he just will stop doing the behavior because there's nothing in it for him. It's not valuable enough. So keep that in mind. From Jessica. My 6-month-old lab will not stop jumping on people. Please help. Okay, let's talk a little bit about jumping up training.
Yeah.
6 months, that's big enough for a lab.
Oh, yeah. We definitely want to get a handle on that. Yeah. It's really important to know what scenarios your puppy is most likely to jump so that you can be ready to work on some prevention. Yeah. Make sure you have all the training tools that you need to work through that prevention successfully, like having the dog on leash, making sure you have some high value rewards so the puppy is happy to listen and focus on you, even when there's fun people and fun things happening in front of them. Distance is your friend, so try not to let your puppy get close enough to people that they can jump until they're calmer and more under control, maybe with working a sit at your side or in front.
Yeah.
A lot of people let their puppy get right up to people, and now you're so close to the distraction that the dog's insane and they're not really listening. Whereas if you practice getting your dog to be calm and sit at a distance, you'll actually have a lot more success. That's, super helpful for when you meet people outside, or even if you have people come to the door, have somebody text you. And I literally did this with my puppy when my family came over recently. They came in the door. I saw them pull in the driveway. I got a bunch of treats ready, and I just rewarded him for sticking with me as people came in and took off their coats and their boots and all of their things. And I was preventing him. If I had done nothing, he probably would have run to the door and been like, woohoo, family, this is exciting.
Yeah. And that response from them is like, whoa, and voices go up and people back away. And that response is exactly what he's looking for.
Yeah. So you need to figure out, again, prevention or correction or redirection. So prevention, figure out how to stop it from happening in the first place, and then teach your dog what to do instead. And that might mean, moving further away, or maybe even keeping the dog in the crate when people come in the house, so that the excitement kind of fizzles down a little bit before before you let them out. So lots of things to do.
There's actually some interesting research that dogs can get so stimulated. I mean, this just makes sense. So stimulated to a point where they're not trainable. They're not in the right frame of mind. So you have to bring them down. And putting them in a crate, managing your dog so that they're in a situation that maybe they're in a little better headspace, it's going to be valuable. If you're at the park, I dropped a link, a video for you in the chat, so that you can check out a video that talks specifically about this step by step. You might feel like, well, people are ruining my training. Well, there's a few steps there that are going to give you a little bit of guidance on how to communicate with those people, but how to make them like your greatest advocate. They'll be great trainers to help you out through the process, but you need to understand a few of the steps.
We work a lot on jumping up in our life skills program.
Yeah.
It's one of the big things that we focus on, because it's such a common thing.
And it's like a frustrating behavior, and it's kind of like it's a little embarrassing. You don't want to be embarrassed when you go for a walk with your dog.
Knocking people over.
Yeah, it's just not safe.
Scaring people.
Totally. So,
Also, I hate petting dogs that jump on me.
Totally, yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah, I know. It's something like, I don't mind. Like, you wait till she gets really excited. Yeah. And
I find
get knocked
it annoying.
over, for sure. Absolutely. This sort of speaks a little bit to the fact that we want you to think about spending quality time with your dog rather than quantity of time. We had a super chat a little bit earlier that talked about how, he's working during the day, so he pops his dog in the crate so that they're managed well. That's perfect. That you don't want your dog to just sort of like be able to find value throughout the house and all sorts of different other things, especially while we're going through the training phase. But when you have them with you, when you're focused on them, when you're, you've got 15 minutes before you go to work, make the most of that time. We talk a lot about the teaching plans in our programs. We share lots of opportunities and ideas here on the YouTube channel of things that you can do that aren't just exercise, but they're training as well. These are the things that I really want you to take advantage of. Yep. So many people feel crate guilt, and maybe, deservedly so. Maybe they just have their dog out in the kitchen and they just wander around and then they pop them in the crate. Well, what if you were doing stuff, you were training, you were like working on exercises, maybe you're doing physical activity, but maybe you're teaching them some amazing trick that you can't wait to show off. By the end of that training session, when you put them back in their crate, they're like completely satisfied, totally relaxed, and they just want to sleep. At this point in your dog's life, they're likely going to be sleeping more often. So, it makes life a lot easier that you get them out,
and they'll sleep more when you're physically and mentally exercising.
Absolutely, for sure. So really focus on that, the idea of quality time versus the quantity of time. Now, I want to thank you guys for joining us here in the train station tonight. Last show, season 5, last show of 2022. I'm going to share with you it's not too bad.
Your New Year's resolution?
Santa hat, hair. I want to thank you for another amazing episode of the Train Station. Thanks to all our Heart Dog supporters, all of our McCann Dog staff in the chat. And I want to thank you for joining us here.
We're the best team ever.
We're happy to have shared all of this conversation with you. And we hope to see you in Puppy Essentials or our Life Skills program so we can actually get to know you.
See you next year. Isn't that weird?
I know, that's weird. Happy holidays, guys. Hope you have an absolutely amazing Christmas season with your family and friends, with all of the teaching, all of the training, all of the things that we've talked about tonight. The rest, my friends, well, that is up to you.
We do these live streams to educate you, but more importantly, to motivate you. You can have the dog that you've always wanted, but it's just going to take you a little bit of work.
I would know, because I was just like you. Long before I became a dog trainer, I was a frustrated dog owner, but the skills that I learned at McCann's changed my life. Now we have hundreds of videos here on our YouTube channel to help you to have a well-behaved four-legged family member.
But if you want someone to guide you through the dog training process, then you should check out our Puppy Essentials program for puppies under 6 months. If your dog is over 6 months, then you could join our Life Skills program, and our instructors are going to help to make sure that everything goes as smoothly as possible in a really supportive environment.
Now, all of the knowledge about dog training in the world won't help you to be successful unless you get up and you start training. The real question is, what are you going to train next?
Happy training.